We're here on your booth. You've got your concept vehicles behind you. How important does the Chinese market remain for you, and what are your targets for sales for the end of 2019?
So, first of all, it's clear demonstration here in the Auto Show in Shanghai that China is the most important market for the Audi Group. There's no doubt about it. We are a market leader in 2018 with more than 660,000 cars, and obviously we go for growth in 2019. Exact numbers we will see. Our long-term goal until 2022 is more or less more than 1 million cars. So really we are targeting this market. It's important for us, and we are happy to be here since 30 years, market leader.
So put the 1 million into context for us. What are you selling now? What were the total numbers at the end of 2018?
The total number was 660,000 cars, and as I said, we are aiming through our electric mobility offensive really to go to 1 million.
Of course, there's a lot of concern about the slowdown in the Chinese auto market. The first year in almost 3 decades, we've seen 10 straight months of falling sales. Are we starting to bottom out now? What is your sense of how bad this is, or are we seeing a turnaround?
Look, I worked here in Shanghai for 4 years, from 2013 to 17. Sometimes it's a little bumpy road. This time a little more than normally. But I always see it's working out, and especially in the premium segment, we do not see a slowdown. The opposite is the case. In the first 3 months, we sold 159,000 cars. That is a growth of 3.3%, and that shows that it's, at least for Audi, working out successfully.
So for the full year of 2019, you expect it to be in line with what you saw in 2018 or above that in terms of sales?
So I think we will be above 2018. So the overall expectation is a growth between 2 and 3% for this market. 2 and 3%.
What are your investment plans for the Chinese market? Can you give us some details in terms of what you are putting inside in terms of funding your expansion?
Normally we don't talk about these numbers, but you can imagine we are expanding our product line from 8 models to 12. So it will be a huge investment, and it shows the confidence we have in this market.
In terms of the electrification of the brand, how is that progressing, and how much longer should investors be prepared to stomach the squeeze on margins that comes with those increased R&D costs?
So obviously, if you start in a new era, in a transition phase, the first investments, we have always positive contribution margin, but then when you extend the portfolio, you get economies of scale, and that is what we are working on. So we have the MEB from the Volkswagen Group for the A and B segment, and we have the PPE, so that is a premium electric car platform together with Porsche, and these 2 platforms we will use to industrialize electrification electric cars here in China.
Yeah. There's been some questioning as to the sheer number of electric vehicle startups in the Chinese market, around 500. Is it your sense that more broadly in the sector, in terms of the EV sector here in China, that we're in bubble territory now?
I wouldn't call it bubble territory. So everybody is now working out the best way how to tackle that issue. And I see really consolidation ahead. These 500 companies cannot survive. You remember the 1920s and 30s, we had the same. So we had hundreds of companies doing gasoline cars, and today we have the consolidation. You will see the same in the electric field.
So it could be whittled down to a few dozen, do you think?
I don't know. Yeah. Could be.
Okay, how much focus do you pay? How much attention do you pay to some of these startup companies?
I think it's always important to pay attention to what the market is offering. So we are analyzing how they tackle the issue, what are the features, and I think that is the right thing to do.
Give us an update on the efficiency plans, the cost-cutting plans for the Audi Group. In terms of the outline strategy you put in place, cutting the workforce by up to 15% over the next 5 years, is that on track? Are those cuts continuing? Are you going to need to go further than that?
So first of all, we were successful with our transformation program in 2018. So more than $1 billion it was contributing already to our plan. And going forward, we will work on all parameters and issues to really get more cost efficiency.
And you talked about operationally cleaning up the operations part of the business. What does that mean in practice? What can we expect to see in terms of the clean-up of the operations of the business?
So I didn't use the word cleanup.
It wasn't you. Okay, maybe one of your colleagues.
Might be. So we are working on the normal productivity issues, and that is in our industry in a range between 3 to 5%, and that's normal business.
And you expect, in terms of the efficiency push, you expect to accomplish that by 2022. Is that still the target?
Excuse me?
Completing this efficiency strategy by the end of 2022.
This will be a major milestone until 2022. There we have to prove to the market that we did our work.
Okay. Is that the time frame then, do you think, when margins start to increase a bit? Are you looking like post-2022? Is that when investors can expect to see fatter margins now?
Definitely.
Yeah. In terms of the lineup, are you confident that you have the number of models that you need to keep that traction in the Chinese market and further afield as well? Have you got the pipeline that you need?
So we have defined the pipeline. Yeah. We will increase our SUV portfolio and especially our fully electric car portfolio. And you see here some of the concept cars we will then bring to a later point in time in series.
Okay, let me just get one last question on the trade environment. Are you confident that a deal is going to happen between the US and China? As you say, you know China very well. What will that mean for the business?
So, I don't know what happens tomorrow, but what we hear is that the discussions are going smoothly and that we can hopefully expect a good result. And that will definitely help to further develop here the economy.
Yeah, and in terms of the threat by the US to impose tariffs on imports of European cars, what would that mean for the bottom line for Audi if that came to pass?
So we are prepared for everything, also for this issue, and we will be able to handle it.